Welcome, 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 everyone. I don't know what episode this is. That is Robb's uh, category and purview, but it is Monday, January 13th, 2025, and this is the Tech Jawn. And coming out of Philly, it's your girl, Tech Life Steph.
And out of Atlanta, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech, aka in need of a serious haircut. For those who don't know, of course, this weekend brought some snowy weather to the South, and of course, Atlanta particularly don't know how to act, so they shut everything
Man, Atlanta
down.
talk with the snow has been hilarious, yo.
Yep. So they shut the city down and surrounding suburbs for Friday and then most of Saturday. So I had my haircut scheduled for last Friday, but since they shut the city down, I was like, all right, well, forget about that. And then I didn't want to go back out on Saturday, and then I could have went out on Saturday, but here's the crux, right? My son's 8th birthday is this coming Saturday. So I wanted to wait to get him a haircut closer to his birthday. So I ain't trying to go to the barbershop twice. So
Well, that makes sense.
so I'm just gonna deal with the raggedy haircut and deal with that today until Thursday till I can get me and my son's haircut on Friday, and then he'll have his birthday shenanigans on Saturday. So I just wanted to let everybody know, I'm
I
kind
don't
of
think
roughing it.
anybody saw your hair and was like, "What's going on?" I mean, it
Hey
still looked
man, look,
exactly the
look,
same as it always looks, so
the
I
internet
think
is
you're
a
good.
mean place, so I just want to get out ahead of it.
It definitely is, it definitely is. Well, before we get to how old is your son gonna be, by the way?
He's this is 8. This is 8.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, happy
yeah.
birthday in advance. So, and what is his name? Remind me again.
He's a junior.
Oh, Terrance Jr. Okay,
Mhm.
little tech, little brother tech. We love to see it. Happy birthday in advance. Before we get to our tech stories, I want to let everyone know you can support the Tech John by becoming a patron by heading over to thetechjohn.com/Patreon. We have multiple tiers over there, any one of which can get you access to our live stream and our after party where you can watch us record the actual podcast and hang out with us in the after party after we finish up. Once again, head over to thetechjawn.com/Patreon, thetechjawn.com/Patreon. And we would appreciate all of your support. And we got a shout out. Saray is already in the chat, chilling and watching, one of our favorite Patreon members. Well, y'all are all our favorite.
Look,
Literally, we love
Stephanie's
all of
being
y'all.
honest. We've got our favorites, and then we got the ones that show up every week. Those are the for real favorites. Our parents
Listen, the
say, "Oh,
riders.
yeah, right." So definitely Saray is one of those. But basically, what I'm gonna do is get caught up. So
Mhm.
I've never been to CES because either the timing was wrong, because again, the holidays and then my birthday comes around January, which is like a couple days before
Mhm.
CES, or and I ain't had the ends to fly myself
Listen,
out there.
listen, CES is a very expensive undertaking. I've never went before last year.
Hmm.
Well, I was supposed to go in 2022. Wait a minute, 2023.
COVID year.
This year, this year, no, last year. No, I went last year. So this
Uh-huh.
is 2025,
Hmm.
2024. I went 2024. I
Hmm.
was supposed to go in 2023, but I ended up getting sick. But I hadn't gone before then. I always said I was not going until somebody was paying me
Hmm.
to go because number one, it's very difficult to even get credentials to go. People talk about CES all the time because it's such a enormous show and you see all
Hmm.
the latest tech and everything else, but it is still a trade show. So it
Hmm.
is typically only open to the trade. So if you have a business or if you're in business, if you're a supplier, if you're a purchaser for a major retailer or something like that, or if you're in the media. And I'm not sure how strict they get. I mean, I know there was a time when, bloggers and kind of anybody who could
Hmm.
kind of claim a
Finagle some
media,
credentials. Yeah,
right, right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
could come. But I know they've sort of clamp down on that a little bit. And even still, it's expensive AF for media, for anybody to go. It's a very expensive ticket just to get into the event, much less getting out to Vegas, getting a hotel room, that whole thing. So it's a lot of money going on to make that happen. And like I said, I just, back when I was blogging and just wanting to get put on and be in the mix and everything else, I was just like, I ain't got the budget for this. So I ain't going until somebody pay me to go. And, the last few years I've been fortunate that somebody has paid me to go. So, that's how I got up in the spot. But yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame anybody that, decides to wait until, you've been invited specifically with
Or
somebody
I'm
who is trying
or
to
I
pay
got it
you.
like that.
Or you got it like
And
that.
I ain't
Yeah,
got it like
yeah.
that. So
And you just like, you know what? I'm gonna just pull up on CES because I ain't got nothing else to do this,
right, right,
New
right.
Year's week or whatever. And
Let me
just
catch this
yeah,
PJ right quick.
right. Let me just hop on a quick little business class chumpy
Right,
and get
right,
on out
right.
here. But it definitely it's Saray said she might go one day, but it feels like too many people. It's way too many people. Literally, there were 150,000 people at CES this year. Like
Wow.
150,000 people over,
Mhm,
that 4 day period. It runs from Tuesday through Friday, that first week of January. The only thing about going is I never really get to stay the whole time.
right.
Because I'm on someone else's dime.
Mhm,
When they're done paying for that hotel room, I'm done staying there. You know what I
mhm,
mean? So it's time to go. And typically, at least what has happened over the last 2 years, I will do a satellite media tour on Monday, which
mhm,
is technically not the start of the conference. The conference doesn't technically start until Tuesday. So what that ends up meaning is, number one, I either leave Monday or early on Tuesday, so I kind of just miss the whole thing. And
mhm,
number two, I miss all of the media stuff because all of the media stuff happens on Sunday.
mhm,
So, once all the previews and everything like that, and it happens at different hotels. Like the conference itself is at the Las Vegas Convention Center, but there are also things happening at Mandalay Bay and at the Venetian. This year, at least, there were different things happening at Mandalay Bay and Venetian, which are, not nearby the convention
not
center.
next door.
No, or the Westgate Hotel, which is where the Westgate is actually connected to the convention center. Well, it's literally right next door. And that's typically where I stay, and that's not anywhere near Mandalay Bay or the Venetian either.
Mhm,
So when you got a 4 a.m. call time on Monday morning, you can't really go to a 6 p.m. Sunday night media event all the way down the strip at Mandalay Bay. And I've tried, I really have, like, looked at the schedule, and I'm like, okay, if I can get an Uber at 3:30 and get there by 3:50, and then I can watch this one opening keynote, and then I can, because there's one event in particular called CES Unveiled, where
mhm,
they just show, there's just, like I said, it's usually at the Mandalay Bay, and you go in the room and you can see all, like, the cool things that are coming up for the year or whatever. It's usually from 5 to 8 p.m. on Sunday night, after, again, like I said, a full afternoon of media stuff happening. And I'm always, like, trying to do the math, because at the end of the day, I need to be in the bed by 7:30. Period. You know what I mean? Seriously, because that's just, listen, I'm minding the business that pays me when I
You know
go out there.
yourself.
Yes, and I need to be ready to go,
Mhm,
because, like, when I go out, like, typically when I go on tours, there's a makeup artist. I could just get up and roll out of bed at the hotel and show up and get done. I'm doing my own hair and makeup out there in Vegas. And you're walking, like, the distance. For anybody who has never been there, CES is massive. I
mhm,
don't know how to describe how big this conference is. I mean, it's like acres, like
mhm,
football fields of convention floor space. And typically, the media, the broadcast center is all the way at the end of what is called the central, because it takes up three different halls. So there's the
Mhm.
central hall, there's the west hall, and there is the south hall. So
Okay.
it's taking up all of those halls. Plus, like, but again, there's stuff going on at the Venetian, there's stuff going on at Mandalay Bay, there's stuff going on at, I think there's one more hotel that there was stuff going on. So there's all kind of stuff just going on all over Vegas. But just in those three halls alone in the convention center, football fields of space in there.
Mhm.
So you're walking at least a half a mile to get from the hotel. And you know how the casinos are out there. They're huge
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
look, they're
Mhm.
like mazes to get through the casino and cut through and distance. So you're literally walking at least a half a mile minimum, if not more, to get from my hotel room to the broadcast center. And so you got to be ready for that whole, you know what I mean? Like I said, again, 4 o'clock in the morning, so now that means I'm getting up at 2:33, because like I said, I gotta do my own hair and makeup, gotta be dressed, gotta be ready to go, gotta have all my stuff with me because I can't go back to my room to get anything if something goes down or messes up. So gotta have everything ready to get over to this broadcast booth, to walk this mile and this half a mile, which is gonna take a solid 10-15 minutes, if not longer, because you ain't trying to break a
Mhm.
sweat before you get
Right.
over there. And so it's just such a massive undertaking. So the idea that I would try to go to CES Unveiled and maybe stay an hour, if I could get there right when it opens at 5 and stay an hour. And then I got to get, by 6 o'clock, I need to be on my way back to the room. And then I got to try to relax and bring myself down enough to get
Right.
in the bed so it's never worth it. You know what I mean? To me, to not be prepared to do my job,
So let me
to
ask
do
you.
all this other stuff.
So you bring up a good point about doing your job. What if you didn't have a job to do? What if you just figured you got the hookup, the homie hookup,
Hmm.
or you won a lottery or whatever the case may be, to where you're just tech life Steph out there. You're not
Right.
associated with this, you're not
Right.
connected with that, you're not brought here exclusively by this. And let's just say you're at the CES. Do you think it would be a more pleasurable experience, or
Absolutely.
or would you feel like I'm wasting an opportunity because I'm not associated with this person or this group, or they are doing this and that, this, so therefore they have access that you regular old, not regular old, I mean, I don't want to minimize, but Tech Life Steph, the
No, I know what you
person,
mean.
may not
Yeah.
have access to, versus Tech Life Steph on behalf of white yada yada yada, or team, whatever the case may be, you can have access to a little bit more
The
stuff. You feel like
only
you
reason I would say I felt if that I would feel like I was missing out is because I wouldn't be making any money.
okay.
Because I
Okay.
don't
True.
have
True.
a YouTube channel that's monetized that I could
Mhm.
go out and just shoot all my own content and come
Mhm.
back and post that content and make some money off those views. You know what I mean? I don't have enough followers on TikTok to monetize the channel. Like I wouldn't feel bad if somebody was paying me, if somebody had paid for me to go. I would absolutely love to go one day and one year and just be able to be Tech Life Steph, shoot whatever content I want to shoot, do whatever I want to do, take the whole week to take my time to go into booths and see stuff and do stuff.
Do you think you can
Um,
make your money's worth by doing that? I'm curious.
n-
I'm just like flat out like, all right, I'm gonna get a game plan together. So you were able to, as Tech Life Steph, do your thing over the course of the entire CES, go to all the events. Do you think you could curate a whatever, a package, a program, or whatever, to where you could actually use the content that then incents you maybe make some money back?
I, I feel like I probably could. I mean, because this year I was there for a satellite media tour on Monday, but I
Mhm.
was also there on behalf of Panasonic. So
Mhm.
I shot some quick content for them in their booth, like with their people. They had their
Mhm.
people, and I did a couple of things with that. I mean, real quick, took less than an hour. I shot my own content for them as well, and posted that. I feel like I could probably put together a few more of those types of deals,
Mhm.
and then maybe just do one a day. So
Mhm.
if the conference is from Tuesday to Friday, I could, you know, get with Panasonic on Tuesday, get with, you know, Govee on Wednesday, get with LG on Thursday. Like I feel like I if I wanted to really like hustle those connections up, I feel like I could probably do that. And maybe I'll think about that for next year. Just make just make brand deals, honestly, and go out there as a content creator, and make brand deals, and then, you know, do my content for that specific brand, but then also be able to
Do
shoot
your own thing.
whatever I wanted to, you know what I mean, for
Yeah.
the rest of the day. So that's that, you know, it's an option. It's definitely an option, because again, I would like the opportunity to stay the whole week, or at least, you know, 2 or 3 days. And that was the other thing I missed. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Monday or Sunday. I think it was Sunday, and that's probably why I didn't go. But Delta, the airline,
Okay.
had an event at the Sphere. And just this amazing, like I'm looking at everybody else's pictures and stuff. I'm like, dang, I'm asleep already. Lenny Kravitz performed, like all these different
Thought I
keynotes and
saw Lil
speakers and
John
everything.
performing
Little
somewhere.
John was, I think he was at the Sphere as well. So it was free if you were already attending CES. You
Mhm,
just went.
mhm.
This was just another thing that they were doing, and I was like, dang, I ain't even going to this. You know what I mean? And I did get out on the floor Tuesday morning, because my
Mhm.
I did stay over, because I was going to actually try to go to, Panasonic actually did the opening keynote for
Okay.
CES on Tuesday morning at like 8:30, and I was going to
Mhm.
try to go to that. My plane didn't leave until 2 that day. So I was like, well, I'll have a little time, you know, CES officially opens the doors at 9 a.m. I can go in there and just kind of see some stuff real quick, and then, you know, head on to the airport or whatever. And I did, but it was tough, because again,
Mhm.
it's so many people. It's
Mhm.
very overwhelming, and
Mhm.
just all of the walking that you're doing trying to get to see anything is
Did you
it's
see
just
people
a lot.
did you see people on alternative ways of transportation? Like, they've got those little wheels to where you kinda lean on one side, or the little sit down
No, I
bikes,
don't know.
you know,
No, I don't know that you would have been even able to like do it.
maneuver
It's
it.
just that many people, you know what I
Right,
mean? And it
right,
was just like,
right.
you know, I was like dragging my suitcase over to the place where they were keeping the bags, and, you know, then I had to go. So I did get around a little bit, while I was in there. And I will say one thing that I did notice, even though I didn't really get to see, you know, all the latest and greatest, oh, so and so had this and so had this. I did see, Bugatti actually had
Okay.
scooters, which was
Oh, did
actually
they?
pretty cool, and they look pretty cool. But there were a lot of companies that were adding wellness components
Mhm.
to whatever they were doing. And it was companies you wouldn't even think, like,
Mm.
why? 'Cause like Panasonic in their booth, they had a wellness thing that they were doing, where they were taking, like, and I feel like LG might have had something, TCL might have, like, I was seeing that concept of wellness in a lot of booths, and using AI to kind of help families either work out, or enter
Yeah, to
their
take that
fitness.
piece of that, health and wellness money that we spend every
Listen,
year and don't do nothing
and
with.
and it's just a data grab as well. You know what I mean? Now
Mhm.
you have all this data about families and what they're doing, and, you know, how their sleep patterns go and everything else. So I thought that was really interesting, because I saw, you know, quite a few companies that aren't typically in that space
Mhm, mhm.
having offering some sort of wellness sort of component to what they were doing. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. I'm like, I guess we kind of all need it now,
I
with the
mean, we
way this
do,
country is going.
but it's
and
just
and
like,
yeah,
I don't
it definitely felt very bandwagony.
yeah.
And So I was just like, cause like, what are you even doing? Like, you're not in a wellness company. But yeah, but it was very, very interesting. I mean, like I said, it's a super cool place to be. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like, you know, I was telling people, you know, the whole time I was out there, I was like, this is like my Super Bowl. And that's really how I feel about it. Cause it's just such cool innovation and so much stuff to see and everything like that. But it is a lot. It is like you need very comfortable shoes.
So let me
You gonna get
ask.
your 10,000 steps.
Right, right. So were you checking other people's feet? Because that's what I do. I mean, I kind of, if I'm like, all right, my feet hurt. So I know some other people's feet hurt. So let me look around here and see what people are wearing. Did you peep anybody? How was it like
It's
overall? Like, what was the overall appearance? Was it blazers and
everybody's no, no,
khakis?
no.
Was it
Everybody's very
jeans? Or
everybody's
okay,
very casual and
okay.
just their, little tech bro vests or,
You
you
saw a lot of
know,
those,
yeah, and just like,
really?
the pullovers and so it's very, very casual. Everybody's in the sneakers. It's funny though, the one woman that came out with the team that I was with for the tour had heels on.
Mhm.
And like when we went to the rehearsal, she's walking. I'm like, you cool with those shoes? And she was like, please, I walk all over Manhattan in these shoes. They're the
Yeah,
most comfortable
okay.
shoes I own. And that's what she wore. And I guess she was, I don't know. She said she was cool. I was like, ain't no way. Boy, ain't no way. Cause there's nothing besides a sneaker that
Right.
I would wear to CES, like at all. Cause
So were people generally upbeat, or did you kind of see like a, all right, let's cross this off the list type attitude, or were people,
I feel like a
super
lot of,
focused, or were people
well,
actually enjoying the.
it's interesting because it's only a very small segment of people there that are media focused.
Mhm.
Everybody else is there to work. You
Got
know
it.
what I mean? Like they're not there just to come see CES like it's
Mhm.
Disneyland. Like if you're either media or you're one of the companies. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It there are about 4,500 companies at
Mhm.
CES every year. So you're either part of the media or you're in a booth at one of these
Mhm.
companies. So
Mhm.
you have been there since Saturday or Sunday, getting that booth set up, bringing
Mhm.
all the stuff in, making it look, and you have to some of these you got to see it. It's what
So you
they.
you bring up the next question.
Mm,
The biggest company that you saw, not necessarily in size, not
mhm,
necessarily in, what they provide
right.
services, like the biggest company that you could visibly say, "Oh, they spent money here." What would that company
Um,
be?
L not LG. LG for one.
Mhm,
LG's booth is always insane. I
mhm,
mean, they usually typically have one of the biggest spaces, if not the biggest space. But what they do inside that booth, I mean, there's usually a car in there of some sort, a EV or smart car or something. The screen, 20 feet of TV screens all
mhm,
together. Like this year, they made the booth look like was that them or was that SK? SK also does a
mhm,
crazy amount, and I still don't know to this day what SK actually does. I think they do like cloud computing or something like that. But I know last year they had a whole replica of the sphere in their booth and a little
mhm,
train that would take you on a ride around the booth. Like SK's booth is always madness, LG's booth is always crazy, Samsung's booth is always crazy. Panasonic's booth was big. It wasn't like over the top techie, if that makes any sense. But it was definitely a big space. Like Govee, it's just it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. But yeah, like so everybody who's not a part of the media is typically um working
working.
at their booth. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm.
They're there to be at their booth. And then if you're like a buyer or something like that, then you're trying to get to all the booths. It's not like it doesn't have a festival feel necessarily.
Mhm.
But it's not, because again, I think everybody
It's
is
not
really
open to
there.
the public,
Right, it's
hours,
not
this
open
and
to the
that,
right. So
tickets
it's not
on sale,
yeah.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be somebody with their kid, going, "Oh, look at the SK,
Mhm,
look at the LG booth." It's everybody is really there to work, and and I don't know, I don't want this to sound crazy, but there's a cultural difference as well because there's a lot of Asian people there.
yeah,
I don't know if they're
technology,
Asian
products,
Americans, but
manufacturing,
it's
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
so it's a different vibe and
mhm,
energy because of the cultural
right,
differences as well between us and Asia.
mhm.
So it's like a
Let's take care of business.
Yeah. People are there to work, but there's everybody still wants to get their pictures, and
Mhm.
whose booth was I in? It might have been TCL's booth, or somebody had this like three-dimensional. They were screens, but they were like
Oh,
moving like this,
yeah.
and just I mean, and then there was one place with like a bunch of, it was like a whole thing with holograms, yo,
Uh,
crazy. Like the tech there is insane. It's just mind blowing. You're like, wow, I can't believe that they thought of this, and the creativity around the innovation is just something to see. It really is something to see. If you're into
s
tech,
so let me
and
ask,
you can
right?
get there.
So you bring up a good point, right? You were saying the only people that are there for the most part is the media, which I mean encompasses a large amount of people, YouTubers, tech blogs. One of the reasons why it's just me and you is because Robb was also over at CES,
Yeah.
but he was part of the Daily Tech News Show crew. So they were doing
Hmm.
their own thing over there, and his flights got delayed. So he's listening to us watching us via the live chat. But the question I wanted to ask was, since there is essentially just the people working the booths, the brand ambassadors, whomever that's working the booth, and then you
Hmm.
have the media, tech blogs, you got people like Steph to where a company brings
News,
her
yeah,
over,
like there's news stations
influencers,
there,
right?
all
but
kind of
but this
folks. Yeah.
but it's not open to the public. But you mentioned how extravagant some of these booths are. Why do you think that these companies put so much effort outside of just publicity? Because you can get that any day of the week, right? You just put out a,
Hmm.
a PR, and get tech blogs to talk about you if you're the right company. Why do companies go through all the effort for CES when they're not really promoting to anybody outside of media? I mean, I know the answer to the question is publicity, but it seems like a lot just so some tech blog could be like, yo, LG's
Oh,
screen was crazy.
Rob is saying it is open to the public during general admission. That's
Ah,
interesting. I
okay,
always thought
okay.
this was to the trade. Hold on, let me.
Mhm.
So maybe that's it.
So you
Um,
think they are trying to do some pomp and circumstance in the sense that some regular people will come by and take pictures and put it on Instagram, that sort of thing. But even still, with general admission, it still seems super extravagant. Am I tripping? Because I ain't
and
never
no,
been there,
it
or
absolutely is. Um, it absolutely is. I think you do want to try to say, like, again, like I said, it's 4,500 companies, so I
mhm.
think you want to try to stand out.
Just in general,
um
just a pissing
yeah,
contest.
and I definitely think you want to try to stand out. I think yeah, see, it's just like, in what capacity? I'm looking at the kind of attendee opportunities, and they ask you kind of if you're media or if you're in the industry. And I mean, I guess in the industry can mean kind of anything. Like,
Mhm.
if you're in the industry, you're
A
in the industry,
buyer, supply
whatever you do,
chain.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that too, you want, if you have like the buyers from Walmart in there, you want to impress them. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
you have the buyers from Best Buy uh at the event, you want them in your booth. And so I guess you just want to do whatever you have to do. And it probably was one of those things where just over the years the competition has just gotten bigger and bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better, and people are just trying to do whatever they can to grab those eyeballs and to grab those people, because it can be, I can see how you can get lost, because when I'm walking through, I'm looking at all these smaller booths and these little
Right.
uh
Mom and pops.
speakers, like, yeah,
Mhm.
like a little speaker company, or a little, and it's just like, ain't nobody coming to this booth. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
there was a table. They were set up right outside, because I had to FedEx. There's a FedEx inside the hall, and I was keep. That's who they were keeping our bags. Like, if you wanted
Mhm.
to because you couldn't take your bag onto the floor. So before I was leaving to go to the airport, I left my bag with the FedEx, and there was a little table set up right next to the FedEx, like literally just a table with a tablecloth, and they were a some sort of very small cybersecurity something. I didn't stop really to look, but I'm looking at them like, who's stopping here? You know what I mean? And as you're walking through the acres and acres of floor, you see all these smaller companies, and I hate to be like, well, dang, do y'all even get any traction whatsoever? But
Mhm.
it would be really difficult to get eyeballs on your booth if you weren't that level of production value.
Mhm.
um because it and again, it just like there was one thing. Sheree asked me one of the most innovative products I saw. I did see there was this thing where it kind of made you look like a transformer almost, because you got, or like that that exoskeleton that was in the movie Aliens or something like that,
Mhm.
but it
Mhm.
it moved you around to for like physical therapy kind of purposes or whatever. It was
Mhm.
it was actually really interesting, and I saw a lot of people's I saw it there, but I saw a lot of people that I knew, a lot of media people that I knew that were there that had gotten into it and were like, getting footage of them in this thing. That was good because, like I said, it looked like that alien thing. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, and then I want to say SK's booth, they had it was all screens, but they made them look like servers. So it looked
Mhm.
like you were in a whole server, room with a room full of servers, because they all their screens look like servers. Like they put some sort of graphic up on the screen that made them all look like servers. So you look like you was in like tech support or something walking through their booth, because they all look like servers. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Uh,
But yeah, I think you just have to. I think they're just trying to get them as many people through their booth, as many eyeballs on their stuff as they can. And if you're the biggest, people will notice that and come, want to come see what you got going on.
Okay. You said you spent a little bit of time on the floor, and you mentioned like
Like,
one of the most innovative things was that power loader. That's how I'm gonna call it. So in the movie Aliens, the yellow robot that she's in to fight the alien is
mhm.
called a power loader. So I just
Oh, okay,
make sure
okay,
for
yeah,
if there's any geeks or nerds on the
right.
show, make sure we don't mess it up.
Listen, that was like
So
the best part of that movie.
um were there some other technology that you saw was like legitimately like, okay, that's dope, or that's going to be useful outside of just the
Mm,
pomp and circumstance, outside of the, oh, that's amazing, or I could see them making that. It's like any one thing that you saw is like, you know what, I could invest in
Honestly,
that.
I mean, I did not get, in full disclosure, I did not get a chance to actually see, quote unquote, see that much
Hmm.
and be in a booth and really, have time to figure out what they're doing and understand what they're doing. I mean, I think we're going to see all of the televisions across, because
Hmm.
it's just like TVs for days. I think we'll see all of that technology end up in a store. I don't think we always. I think I don't know. I don't know what the percentage is. I'd be curious to know what the percentage is of how much of that stuff actually makes it to market.
Hmm.
If it's not already there. It's funny. One of the products I talked about in my tour, which I was like, are people really going to use this? It was this, I guess, in eye doctors' offices, they clean there's some of them have this product called a optic wash, and they clean the glasses, and they can put the glasses inside this machine, and water hits it, and then it air dries, and then UV light, and then all this stuff happens to clean these glasses. And the
Hmm.
guy who makes them modified it so that you can clean jewelry and electronics and your smartwatch and your glass, like,
Hmm.
so you can clean more things. He tried to modify it for home use. First of all, this thing was huge. And I think they have standing sort of vending wash
Mhm.
machines at like
Mhm.
airports and
Mhm.
different stuff like that where you can do it. But this was like a little sort of countertop version of that. And I was like, this is interesting. It was hella expensive. If you have a lot of money and you have a lot of jewelry and you clean
Mhm.
your jewelry often and want it cleaned and sanitized, I suppose, and you have some sort of huge walk-in closet or something where you can put this thing. But that was one of those things where I was like, who's the market for this? Like, I don't understand who the market for is
Right.
for this
Was
one.
there was there any more of those kind of head scratching type products that you like in recent memory was like, now what?
I'm trying to think what else did I see.
So from the outside looking in, there were a bunch of robots, like little personal assistant slash desktop slash, little on wheels robots. There
Yeah,
was a bunch of drones, bunch
lot
of
of
TVs.
companion robots as
Mhm.
well, like
Okay.
little companion emotional support robots that were
Yeah.
supposed to be able to like sense your mood and do
Mhm.
all those things. So yeah, like I said, I don't know how much percentage wise of that stuff actually ever makes it to market, because some of it
Mhm.
is just that kind of like,
Conceptual.
what's the
Mhm.
craziest thing we can kind of come up with and do, and then some of it's just super practical, like we made new bluetooth speakers, like, you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
you get that whole gamut of high concept innovation type stuff all the way down to like, yeah, we got some cool AirPods, some cool earbuds that have
Mhm.
AI built into them or whatever. So you get a little bit of everything.
All right.
It's
All
pretty
right.
crazy.
So you were able to run into Rob, correct? So tell us
Yes,
about that whole
yes.
experience.
So it took a minute because again the place is huge and we trying to catch up, and um I was trying to find where because the podcast booths were different in a different location than the broadcast booths. So we had connected on, I think that was on Monday, because I had a rehearsal, and then we were texting and I was like, hey, I'm still in this building, like, where are you at, yada yada yada. And it took a little minute to dropping pins on maps and all the rest of that stuff. But we did finally get a chance to catch up, and I actually got a chance to meet Tom
Mhm.
Merritt with DTNS
Mhm.
as well. And so yeah, it was cool. It was cool to just have a couple minutes to like in in real life IRL, if you will, to just chop it up a
Mhm.
little bit and catch up.
All right. All right. So was there any sort of technology? Now you mentioned y'all dropping pins and things of that nature. Is there any, let's just put ourselves back out in CES and you were trying to link up.
Mhm.
Is there any technology that you think would have would make linking up in like big events? Think of like Super Bowl, think of like big gigantic concerts or big festivals like Lollapalooza or, some of
Mhm.
the, is there technology that you think that you could come up with that can make technology easier for people to
Mm.
link up at events like this?
I feel like their app may have been one of the ways we could. I mean, I had it on my phone. I don't know if
Mhm.
Rob had downloaded it or not, and but I feel like there's something in their app that maybe facilitates that a little bit better.
Mhm.
Um Definitely, some I'm sure there's some sort of Bluetooth something
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
that would help that process. I can't think of anything that I saw there that
Right.
would help that process along
Yeah, I'm
better.
thinking
But
like find my tags for like but like so for instance, I give you a perfect example. Apple within their Find My network has
mhm,
come up with the or released the ability for me to share a lost an air tag with you, for example. Like if me and you are at the airport, leaving or coming to CES, and I've lost my baggage, right?
mhm,
Instead of the tag that I've labeled on my Find My network, Terrance's luggage, and I'm showing you or I'm showing the airline, look, it says my package is right here because I've got
Right.
Find My, right? One of the new technologies that Apple has released is the ability for me to share my tag with you. So I can share my tag with you. So now it's on your phone. So now me and you can kind of walk around and kind of
And
locate
try
this
to find it.
thing.
Yeah.
And also, they've given the ability for airlines to use their technology. So, like Air Canada, American Airlines, maybe Delta, I think.
I think I did hear that. Yeah.
I can share my AirTag with them and they can be like, "Oh, yeah, 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 it is back here," versus we don't know where it's at, right? So I'm kind of thinking of like temporary, one time, a certain amount of time, like the ability to share my location with you cross platform. And we ain't got to be
Right.
Apple, it's got to be Android or Windows PC or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking something like that to where temporarily you like share your
Right.
location. So I mean, pins they don't work because have you
Well,
ever?
and it definitely wasn't. I mean, it kind of helped get me
Hmm.
in the general vicinity,
Hmm.
because I was following along on my phone. But then there it came a point where it just like we had to just be on the phone, and he
Hmm.
had to talk me
Where you are?
into where he
Hmm.
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, the pin only goes so far. Definitely, definitely.
Well, yeah, all right, well, all right. Did you have anything
Overall,
else to overall your
I will
CES
say though,
experience?
I did get to go see a show while I was there.
Okay.
Saturday night, I saw Miss Janet Jackson
This is
at
this
the
is off
resort.
hours. This is on your
Yeah.
own. This is like, all
Yeah,
right,
this
I got
when I
some free
first got
time. Let me okay.
yeah, I got
All
there
right.
on Saturday.
All
My
right.
plane got in around 6, and I think like Friday, before I left Philly, Friday I was just like I don't know. I don't even know how I found out she was out there, honestly. But somehow Janet Jackson and Vegas residency popped up in one of my social media feeds or something. I was like, "Oh snap, Janet's in Vegas." I said, "Let me see if I can get a ticket real quick." And so I hopped on StubHub. There was a ticket for like $100. I was like, you know what? I've never
When in
seen her in
Vegas.
concert. Went in Vegas, right? So yeah, I got off the plane. Got By the time I got back to the room, it was about 7. The show was at 8:30, so I just kind of rallied, washed my face real quick, and drank some water and tried to get hydrated, and because I was super tired. But I was like, you know
Mhm.
what, I'm not gonna miss this. And it was a phenomenal show. So if
Okay.
anybody is in Las Vegas and gets a chance to see Janet, she was dope. It was a
Now
really really good show.
now I'm assuming her residency, just an assumption, I could be wrong. We saw that Usher had a recent resurgence as a result of his Vegas residency. Was like Janet Jackson because who else is out there? 50 Cent is almost, I think, out there as well.
50 Cent, yeah.
Mariah Carey is or going to be.
She's coming. I think she'll be there.
Okay.
I think at the end of this month, actually.
Okay. Was Janet Jackson's kind of trying to on that level of extravagant, or was it kind of like toned down? Y'all know who it is. This is Miss Janet,
No, it
Uh,
was a great show.
okay.
There was fire and
Okay. All right.
pyrotechnics, and
All
I mean
right.
it definitely was the only thing I could think of like that just was in the back of my mind was like I would have loved to see her 20 years ago. You know what I
When she
mean?
was
When she
rocking and
was
rolling.
really like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because she was doing it. Don't get me wrong. I ain't taking nothing away from Miss Janet. But she is almost 60 years old. So
Mhm.
I feel like there was a lot of the choreography that was sort of modified
Mhm.
to a 60-year-old. I mean,
Mhm.
just what
Mhm.
it just is what it is. You just can't do the same stuff you could do when you was 30.
Mhm.
And her dancers were great. She looked phenomenal. I mean, she had slimmed down and she looked amazing. She sounded good. The mic was on. I have to
Oh, was
say,
it?
I was
Now
very impressed. It
that's a
wasn't a
Janet
whole lot of
Jackson
listen,
question.
there was not a whole lot of lip syncing going on. The mic
Okay.
was
All
turned
right.
on. Janet was singing. Are you hear
Okay.
me?
All
And
right.
but yeah, it was a really good show. I was it was very energizing.
Mhm.
So by the time I left there, I was hype and just she did all the hits. She's been
Okay.
performing since she was 7 years old. And she said she got her start on that stage. I don't know if it was on that particular stage. She's at resorts, but she was like in Las Vegas
Mhm.
51 years ago.
Mhm.
as a 6-year-old on stage with her 5 brothers, you know what I mean? She's been performing for a long time. So shout out to Janet Jackson.
All right, all right. Steph, if you don't have anything else, I think that will do it because I certainly ain't got anything else because I was chilling at the crib
Listen,
through
listen.
this
See,
through this weather.
if you ever get a chance, though, for anybody listening, if you ever get a chance to go to CES, I think if you're into tech, it's a lot. Just
Mhm,
prepare yourself. I don't know
mhm,
how to stress, the preparation for the overwhelmingness of it all, but it is still definitely worth it to see that much tech and that much innovation all in
mhm,
one place, and to get to go to these keynotes, hear about the industry, the state of the
mhm,
industry, where the industry's going, and all these different sectors and verticals and stuff like that, and then just some of the cool stuff that they do there. Again, we were talking about the fact that Lenny Kravitz was at the Delta event at the Sphere. Little John was there. There was some guy in the Panasonic booth DJing, because what the one thing I was hyped about, but I don't know how I did not know that Panasonic makes Techniques, the turntables, like
oh,
when you
okay.
hear rappers talk about Techniques,
Mhm,
that
mhm,
they scrap the Grandmaster Flash on his Techniques. Like
mhm.
Panasonic makes Techniques, and it's the
Oh, okay.
60th anniversary
Oh, okay.
of Techniques. So it was like 60th anniversary of Techniques, 50th anniversary of hip hop, kind of all went together. And so they had a DJ booth there, and there was some guy, I don't know who he was, but I don't follow like EDM or anything like that. But he was apparently like a popular EDM DJ or something. So there's definitely like cool stuff to see, and like I hesitate to call it entertainment, but for lack of a better term, entertainment type things to do, and so it would definitely be worth it if you had a chance to go. It would definitely, I would encourage anybody, if you get the opportunity to go, like, take it, because it would totally be worth it.
All right, so you brought up something else, and I forgot that I was gonna ask. You mentioned, make sure you prepared. So you and we talked about your little DJI Osmo before you
Hmm.
left.
Hmm.
Think about all of the things you packed to use at CES. I ain't talking about luggage. I'm talking about,
Right.
gear, right? Did you
Yeah.
use all that? Did it come in handy? Was it a waste? Did you overpack?
Yes,
Did you underpack?
I
Okay.
use I didn't need as many of the connectors
Mhm.
as I thought I would, because I had I brought my smaller, because I have like
Doc.
a decent bag
Okay.
for just peripherals. Basically, I have a decent sized bag. I would get up and get it, but I'm not gonna do it. But then I have a smaller one for peripherals. So I brought my smaller bag with just like an extra charger and different cables of different types, a smaller dock. I did have a smaller dock. Um, and just little, and then I had just this bag with my Osmo Pocket
Mhm.
and all of its accoutrement. And I used everything. I took my laptop with me. Thankfully
Mhm.
I did, because I wasn't really expecting to do any editing or anything real time.
Mhm.
Although I did end up doing some, because I had did a quick little video in the Panasonic booth on Monday, and I was like, I just want to get this out today, and it's quick, so I can just hurry up and blah blah blah. But I actually ended up doing a news segment on Tuesday morning with Merritt Street, so I needed my laptop for that,
Mm.
and I was happy that I had it there. But then yeah, and again, I was shooting content with my Osmo the whole time. I was doing my stories on my phone. If I posted any stories to Instagram, I did those just straight into Instagram with my phone. But everything else I shot with my Osmo. So I definitely used it, used the mic, used all the pieces of that. What I didn't have, though, which I didn't realize, I guess I won't say I didn't realize it, but I didn't realize it until too late that I didn't have what I needed. Um, all of my sort of portable travel tripods are just for phones. So the top part has that little bungee that you stick the
Mm-hmm.
phone in, and none of them had the thread, the screw that I
Mm-hmm.
could put the Osmo on. And so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have an actual tripod. I mean,
Just
most
set
of my
it
stuff I
on.
shot, yeah, most of the stuff I shot, I just did handheld. And then there is a little teeny sort of tripod thing that the Osmo comes with. So
Mm-hmm.
you get like this little thing, and then there's an extra piece to it as well that kind of makes it extend a little bit. You can make it taller is what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say, but it's still not,
Wasn't
you
flimsy, it was
know
flimsy.
no, but it doesn't
Wasn't
get you
tall
to
enough.
like eye level
Standing
height. Like
height.
if
Got it.
yes, 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 yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I did end up buying something. I have something now that is, I'm actually using my Osmo right now. And I did go on Amazon and get a tripod that has the phone connector thingy
Mm-hmm.
and a screw for cameras,
Mm-hmm.
that's travel, because I mean I have big tripods, like real tripods, but I'm like
Mm-hmm.
something I can throw in a bag. I didn't have anything small like that.
Got
So
it.
I wish I would have had that. I mean, I don't think it, really hurt the content that I was making, but it would
Mm-hmm.
have been nice to have the tripod there. But yeah, I used, like I said, I didn't end up needing all of the cables that I brought, so I probably could have left my little cable bag home and just brought um my charger and like my power bank and my dock, and just had them, kind of in my bag or whatever. But I use all my stuff.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
I had another question about gadgets, but we get into 53 minutes. So we can
We
talk
have
about
time
it.
for one more
We take
question.
yeah,
Or you
we
want
can
to take it to the after
no,
show?
I was saying was we had these other stories up here, but I was looking, I was like, we could do the whole show on CES. So I'm a angle for that
Listen,
one.
I'm not
um
mad.
Thinking of mobile editing, you got all these new folks, these young kids that can do everything on a phone. If
Hmm.
you would have left your laptop or didn't have it or the battery ran out, do you think you could have that that Marriage Street story that you did? Because you think you could have shot, edited, uploaded
No,
that
I
via
didn't.
your
No,
phone?
I was on air. I had to do a segment.
Oh, yeah. So you need the
Yeah, no,
notes
no,
and
no.
stuff.
It
Got it.
wasn't.
I
No, I
thought it
didn't
was like
shoot
your own
content
kind of
for them.
recording. Got it. Got it.
No,
Got it.
no, no,
Got it.
no.
Okay.
It needed to be via Zoom. Like I was doing a live
Got it.
segment for
Got
them
it.
on, like,
Got it.
during their broadcast on Tuesday
Okay.
morning. So,
Okay.
I mean, had I, if I had to, I probably could have set my phone up and did it from the phone, because it ended up being, they had wanted some CES kind of coverage, but then they decided against it because they wanted to do that on Monday, and I had to work. I was already working on the tour on Monday, so
Mhm.
they came up with these um, just kind of apps for the new year, apps to help you
Mhm.
keep your New Year's resolution kind of thing. So they already had all the graphics and the screenshots of the apps they wanted to talk about. They just wanted me to be the one to kind of break them down and talk about
Got it.
them.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, I was actually on air Tuesday morning. So I definitely needed my laptop for that. Like I said, I probably could have got away with the phone. Worst come to worst, and just did Zoom on my phone. But I
Well,
was
just th-
glad I had my laptop for that.
just think without that segment that you did, would you have preferred to have like a traditional, all right, just shoot on a camera, or like a DJ Osmo, and then edit it on your iPhone? I mean, edit it on your Mac or computer, or could you have like been, all right, I'm going to make a challenge for myself. Only thing I'm bringing
Just to
out there
use the
is my
phone.
phone
Yeah.
or the DJI to shoot, and then get it to your phone, and then do the editing with CapCut or something like that
Well,
on your
that's
phone.
the thing. If I was gonna, I could have done everything in CapCut if I
Hmm.
really was, motivated to do that. And I think I may have done something in CapCut. I don't know, but I could have done. But I don't know that there's a way to get. And if there is, maybe Rob might still be listening, and somebody else listening may tell me. I don't think there's an easy way to get your data from the Osmo to your phone.
That's odd. I would think there would be a DJI Osmo app that when you shoot
Mm,
on on that DJI, and as long as you pair your phone and your Osmo together, if not, this is recommendations for
let me there
DJI.
no, there is an app. Let me see if you can do that. That's a good
Yeah,
question. 'Cause
I would
listen, I
assume
just got my Osmo, so I don't know everything going on with it right now.
I would
But let me
assume there would be like a way to quote unquote air quote link your phone
yeah,
app with the DJI app, because I've got a DJI drone.
right.
And what I can do is I can open up the DJI drone app on my phone. And then even though I don't plan on flying the drone with my phone, that's how you transfer the videos from the SD card that's in the drone to my phone is via that app. So I would
Okay. There
assume.
is a I know you can connect it. Um and then you can bring your stuff in from your camera roll. There might be. There might
Okay.
be. And there's definitely editing tool. I'm looking at it right now on my phone. There are editing tools in here.
Okay.
And again, I don't want to connect my camera right now
Yeah, wait,
because
don't
I
do it
don't want
now.
it to mess up what we got going on, right. It'll mess around and cut and shut this down. So I don't want to, but I maybe considering you can connect your camera in the app,
Mhm.
maybe whatever you're capturing there will be
Yeah.
in the app and on the phone. So yeah,
Okay.
I probably could have got away with just the phone and the camera
All right.
and a power bank, for to keep the camera charged. Could
All right.
possibly,
All
possibly.
right. All
I'll
right.
think about that next time to stay very streamlined because I definitely had a bunch of shit. Like my bag with my gear bag was full and heavy,
Mhm.
and
Did you feel special?
looking at
Did it make you feel important to have the bag going around and showing up at places with your credentials and such?
listen, I don't. I'm always just in work mode and with stuff
Mm.
like that. I'm never thinking about like, ooh, look at me, media. Like I'm always just like, let me go get this bag.
Okay.
Let me do my job. Let me do my job well, and let me get this bag.
All right, all right. So that is going
Yeah.
to do it for this episode
Yes.
of the CES recap on the Tech John. Maybe next week if Rob is back, maybe we'll have him put in some things because he's definitely blowing up our phones with
Hmm.
extra notes. So I'm pretty sure he had some things he wanted to talk about. So maybe next week we'll intro the show and kind of
We'll
have
get
him.
Rob's perspective.
Yeah. We'll get Rob's perspective next week. But other than that, that's going to be it for this show. We've got a couple more things we'll talk about. I didn't have anything for the after party, so we're going to move these stories that we had to the after party. And this is a good segue because if
Mhm.
you are listening to this show and you are not a member of our Patreon, you are about to miss these conversations we're about to have in the after party. So I'm going to tease you a little bit. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about Meta ending fact checking on their properties, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads and WhatsApp. No more fact checking for Facebook, and Facebook is also done with DEI. No more
Some
diversity,
total BS.
equity, and inclusion. They are
Total
done
BS.
with it. So we're going to talk about what other companies are bouncing and what company decided to stay. So that's going to do it for this week's show. Again, if you are a Patreon supporter, you will get this extra content. If you are not a Patreon supporter, please go to patreon.com/, the Tech John. We've got
Mhm.
different tiers over there, but mostly and more importantly, you will get access to these exclusive content that you normally don't hear on our show. So you got to be a Patreon supporter for that. So please go to patreon.com/, the Tech John. You can also go to the techjohn.com/shop, get some accessories, and that is going to do it for this week's show. So, Steph, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me all around the web at Tech Life Steph, or check out my website at stephaniehumphrey.com.
And you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH. If you want to find out about the show, please go to thetechjawn.com. That's TECHJAWN.com. Get all the information. learn how you can be a Patreon supporter and all the good stuff. So until next week, we are out. Peace.